It is rare for a person to truly change overnight. Many people imagine that there will come a morning when someone wakes up, decides they have endured enough, then severs all contact and disappears from everyone's life. But in reality, according to what psychology has observed, the internal transformation within a person almost never occurs in such a sudden way. It begins very quietly, very deep beneath the surface, long before anyone around has the chance to notice that the person is no longer the same as before. It may be just one conversation that leaves them feeling drained in a way that is hard to name. Then another time, they leave a dialogue with the sense that they have just spent far too much time explaining things that never needed explaining. Then another similar experience. And then many more. Each small disappointment, which at first glance seemed insignificant, gradually piles up until they form a complete picture that the person had never seen before. At a certain point, they stop trying to convince those who have already decided they will not understand them. This does not happen because they have lost the ability to communicate, nor because they no longer care about people. On the contrary, they simply begin to recognize a truth they had previously overlooked. There is a vast difference between someone who genuinely does not yet understand you and someone who never intended to listen to you in the first place. Psychologists have long pointed out that as emotional maturity increases, people also become better at distinguishing between a conflict that can lead to growth and a mere emotional loop that repeats endlessly without resolution. There are disagreements that leave two people understanding each other more deeply after the conversation ends. But there are also arguments in which both sides simply keep repeating their own beliefs, with no remaining curiosity, no desire to explore the other's perspective, only the need to prove they are right. People with high emotional intelligence learn to recognize that difference. When they understand that a conversation is merely circling the same point, they no longer feel obligated to keep participating. They no longer spend hours defending every decision they have made, correcting every minor misunderstanding, or chasing every opportunity simply to be acknowledged or understood by others. From the outside, that silence is easily interpreted as indifference, coldness, or distance. But inside, something entirely different is taking place. It is the moment they realize that sometimes peace does not come from making everyone agree with them. Peace comes from accepting that there are viewpoints that will never change, and that you do not need to spend your entire life fighting against that fact. This shift in perception also begins to spread into their relationships. They gradually recognize which friendships exist only when they are always the listener, the comforter, the problem solver, the advice giver, or the one who is always ready to show up whenever others need them. They also start noticing who disappears during their most difficult periods, yet appears right on time when they become useful, successful, or valuable to those people. They notice that there are people who show sympathy when they fail, but deep down feel relieved because it keeps the distance between them from becoming too great. Conversely, when they achieve success, the response they receive is not sincere congratulations, but awkward silence, reluctant praise, or a change in attitude that is hard to explain. Those observations are not formed from suspicion or pessimism. They are created from experiences that have repeated over many years, enough for behavioral patterns to gradually become clear. Over time, emotionally mature people no longer evaluate the value of a relationship based on how long it has lasted. Instead, they begin to ask themselves much deeper questions. After each encounter with this person, do I feel respected? Can I be completely myself in a natural way when I am with them? Are they truly happy when I grow? Or do they only like the old version of me, the version that made them feel comfortable and unthreatened? Those questions do not create noise, yet they quietly reshape their entire social circle. A few relationships become stronger than ever, because they are built on respect and sincerity. Others gradually fade over time, without the need for major arguments, emotional confrontations, or a formal announcement of the end of the friendship. Sometimes, distance itself is the clearest answer that words can never express. As that process of transformation continues, something else begins to become the highest priority. That is time. Most people still regard time simply as numbers on a clock or days passing on a calendar. But those with deep self-awareness begin to view time in an entirely different way. They see it as a precious emotional investment. Every conversation consumes attention. Every relationship requires mental energy. Every promise, every commitment, every obligation takes away a portion of a life that you will never have the chance to reclaim. Once they truly understand this, people begin to choose far more carefully where they will invest their energy. Instead of trying to please everyone, they focus on protecting what truly matters. They protect their health. They protect the peace in their mind. They invest more in family, in their closest relationships, in life goals, and in their own personal growth. To some people observing from the outside, these changes may be misunderstood as selfishness. But modern psychology reveals a different perspective. Healthy boundaries have never been walls built to push everyone away. They are more like intelligent filters that allow those who are truly compatible to draw closer, while preventing the emotional exhaustion that comes from constantly having to meet everyone's expectations. That is also why many intelligent and mature people begin to say the word no more often than before. Not because they have become colder. Not because they have stopped caring about others. But because they have finally understood that every unnecessary yes is quietly stealing time from the life they truly want to build. Perhaps this is the greatest change in the entire journey. They no longer measure success by the degree of popularity. They no longer use the number of people who like them to determine their self-worth. They also no longer spend many years of their life chasing acceptance from those who never intended to give it. Instead, they begin to evaluate life through quiet yet extremely powerful questions. Each morning when I wake up, do I feel that I am living true to who I really am? Do the choices I make today reflect my own values? Or are they merely efforts to meet the expectations of others? Am I gradually becoming a version of myself that I can also respect and admire? These are not questions that yield immediate answers. Yet it is precisely they that create the most lasting changes. When a person begins to live based on those questions, the world around them also quietly changes in response. A few friendships become deeper. A few relationships naturally come to a close. New opportunities appear at the right time. Old habits that no longer fit gradually disappear. And perhaps most importantly, they no longer fear being misunderstood by others. Because finally, after many years of searching for answers from the outside world, they have truly come to understand themselves. Interestingly, it is also during that very stage that many people begin to say they have changed. And that is entirely true. They really have changed. But not into cold people. Not into arrogant people. Nor into people who hate society or hate humanity. The only thing that has changed is that they have finally understood the value of the attention they give to others. The value of the peace they are protecting. And the value of the one life they have only one chance to live. Perhaps that is the deepest lesson hidden beneath this entire journey. Sometimes, the fact that a person gradually disappears from conversations, from superficial relationships, or from places that are no longer suitable does not mean they are abandoning everyone. Sometimes, it is simply the first time they have decided to stop abandoning themselves. People who appear to be disappearing are not always running away from the world. Many of them are simply, step by step, moving closer to the most authentic version of themselves, the version they had unconsciously been searching for over many years. Therefore, Perhaps the most important question is not whether you are gradually disappearing from other people's lives. The question more worth reflecting on is this. In your current life, what thing, what relationship, what expectation, or what fear is, day by day, pulling you further away from the person you truly want to become? Because it is very possible that the answer to that question will be the door that opens the most meaningful new chapter of your life. And sometimes, that new chapter does not begin with seeking more people to enter your life. It begins with the courage to let go of the things that have quietly taken away your peace, your energy, and your identity for a very long time.